Hello, hello. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check, mic check. All right, we are good. Welcome, everybody. We have one viewer as of right now. That's what's up. We are about to get started for the Wednesday night championship race at Lemans. Welcome, racing fans, to the grand finale. 7 rounds have brought us to this moment. Across the hills of Kyoto and the streets of Tokyo, and now it all comes down to one final race. We are about to begin qualifying pretty soon. We have about 3-some minutes before we're going to get started. We're going to have a 10-minute qualifying. Drivers will want to put in their best laps. The fastest laps that we have seen today are around the 3-minute, 20-second range. As you can see, Paintman owns it right now with a 3:19.7. But the conditions will be changing. Not everything is going to be the same, so he'll have to nail it again in qualifying. We've seen drivers up and down the grid absolutely killing it in terms of points. We have seen great times across the board, but our championship, as it stands, Fuego is on a tear, but Leadfoot just took the win at Sardinia. Fuego sits at 231 points, but his championship contender Paintman sits behind at 213. The next two people, Leadfoot and Austin, they're sitting at 204 and 203 points. It's a winner-takes-all scenario between those two to claim and fight for their step on a podium. The next bunch, Moy with 193, Augie at 189. They're not far away at all to get their claim to fame. Captain Pedro, very close behind even them at 138. Misfit, Caleb and El Chivo, Jax, they're having their own fight, trying to get as far as they can to win their midfield fight. We are approaching the end of our warm-up session. We are looking forward to the 10-minute qualifying for the ASRWednesday series. The big question is how many drivers have put in practice with the soft tire to make sure that they can nail their qualifying. A lot of them you can see on the pit wall they're on softs, which is very good. A very good sign, saying that they definitely might have put those practice laps in. You can see Fuego, Chivo, Pedro, Moy, everyone is using the softs. It's a glorious, glorious thing. But that's good on our racers for making sure they do their wow. Good for our racers making sure they do their due diligence. Say that 5 times fast. To do as well as they can in qualifying. A yes from Fuego signifies things could be kicking off any second. The minute is 6:45, and we could be beginning qualifying right underway, with drivers checking in and letting the racing governing body know that the race is going to be good to start. Some info about the race. It is a 50-minute endurance race. And with time sitting in the 1:30 range, drivers could be looking at 17, maybe 18 laps. The tires, the hards, good for about 7 or 8 laps. The mediums, 5, maybe stretching 6 laps on mediums. And softs would be a daring thing to do for drivers, considering how quickly the softs can fade. And especially with such a long track, they will wear away quickly, so you won't be able to get much use out of it. That being said, the strategies are all up in the air for today. We could have runners trying to do 3 stints on mediums. We could have drivers maybe doing 2 stints on hards. We could have drivers doing 2 stints on medium, then a stint on softs. We have no idea. But the tires are not the only what-if factor for tonight. The weather. We have no idea what the weather brings. We have no idea what's in store with the weather. Hell, I can't even change things myself to try and look at the weather because I do not have that power. The funding here at the studio is not that great. But with the night setting into place, qualifying is just underway. Oh, all right, let's do this. Make sure we can see everything that's going on. Seems like everyone is out of the pits. Well, with the 10-minute qualifying, I can see no bars held. Oh, it is anywhere and everywhere. El Chivo leading the pack, but not leading the pack. Matter of fact, Augie leads everyone away. He could be followed by Paintman. He is followed by Paintman. Augie making his way down the back straight, followed by Paintman. Followed by El Chivo. Then Caleb have things sorted out. En Fuego, 6th. Misfit, 7th. Austin, 8th. Moy, 9th. Already with the penalty, Moy, but he'll serve it. Get that out of the way. He'll still be able to have a good qualifying. Mick, followed by Leadfoot, followed by Pedro. All the drivers making their way down the back straight. Some getting the benefit of slipstream from the cars in front of them. Some not. The wind is in their favor. Top speeds around here are about 188 miles per hour, fluctuating between 188 and 189. But with the wind at your back, you can get up to 190 miles per hour in the NSX. Augie making his way out of the Mulsanne corner. A lot of other drivers approaching the Mulsanne corner. Some still on the Mulsanne straight. Austin weaving to get those tires warmed up as quickly as he can. Augie coming into Indianapolis. Hard on the brakes to set up his run at Arnage. He wants a great exit out of Arnage to make the most out of that long straight. Drivers will not be able to get up to top speed on this straight, so the exits are very important, and the slipstream is always essential. Drivers are maintaining their order. Moy taking his slowdown penalty. Mick coming around Arnage. Leadfoot following. Pedro right behind. We'll hop back on board with Augie as he makes his way through karting, and he will begin his qualifying lap after the S's of Indianapolis, the Ford Chicane and Ramen Commandant. Record them all. Augie, good exit. He begins his lap well. Paintman, another good exit. Chivo running a little wide, but good exit. Fuego following. Caleb with a half-second penalty. That'll affect his qualifying. Misfit following. Austin right behind. Moy, he's approaching. He begins his lap. Followed by Mick. Leadfoot. Pedro getting through the first set of S's, taking the second set of S's. We're on board with Augie. He's already 40 seconds into his qualifying lap. That's how big the gaps can get at this lovely, lovely track. Augie will be the biggest victim of not having a slipstream. Paintman could be feeling the effects, but a lot of drivers. Caleb with a 2-second penalty, that'll not be good for his qualifying. He needs to make sure he has a great lap to make sure he can get as high as he can in the grid order. But a lot of drivers getting the benefit of DRS in some way, shape, or form. A huge hole punched in the air. Augie takes the kink. Paintman behind. Hard on the brakes into the Mulsanne corner. He flings it to the right. Has a good exit. Paintman behind. Paintman could be getting the benefit of slipstream now. With more than 5 minutes already gone from the session. And our fastest driver on a 2:14. Drivers will have this lap, maybe the next lap for the back runners to have a good lap. So everything counts on this first out lap for all of our drivers. Oh, someone's went wide. Caleb might have gone wide. He's about to take a slowdown penalty, which could let Misfit get close enough to either get in the slipstream or pass. Another driver's gone wide. Moy has gone wide. He also has a slowdown penalty. Mick making his way through. Leadfoot following. Pedro a little bit further behind. He makes his way. Let's hop on with Augie as he's approaching the end of his laps. Coming out of the Porsche curves and into karting. Paintman following behind. He has 2 chicanes of Ford Chicane and Recommandant left to top off his lap. He approaches the Ford Chicane in a 3 minute 10 seconds. Giving it everything he has, getting out of the final with a 3:16. He's pushing. 3:20, followed by Paintman, 3:18. Who crosses the line next? Oh, the order's getting jumbled. Caleb coming to the line. Misfit coming to the line. Moy. Crosses with 3:26. Mick and Leadfoot. Mick 3:25.3. Leadfoot 3:22.7. The order's all mixed up. It's Paintman, followed by Fuego, El Chivo, Augie, Misfit in the top 5. Austin 6th. Leadfoot 7th. Pedro 8th. Mick 9th. Moy 10th. And Caleb in 11th. Drivers have this lap to make something happen. A lot of them picking up penalties, including Augie, who's giving a massive tow to Paintman. Is Paintman going to bump trap to try and get as fast as he can, as far as he can, or will he go for the pass? Will Augie let him by? Paintman, Augie, side by side in qualifying. You can barely see them, but they're two warriors fighting in the dark. They take the kink. A little bit of racing action going on in qualifying. Side by side. Approaching the Mulsanne corner. Both of them hard on the brakes. Paintman coming through. He'll have no slipstream for the rest of this lap to try and improve, although he already takes P1 as of now. El Chivo coming down. Misfit taking the corner. Misfit's up 3/10 on her last lap. In 5th place, she'll want to get as high as she can. Fight for her chance at stepping on the podium. Austin with 1.5. Caleb getting the slipstream from Austin. Caleb with no penalties so far. He's going to want to do as good as he can. Get out of that last place start. I believe Caleb was up on his last lap. I don't know if I moved. Oh, shout out to Caleb watching in Wisconsin. Little does he know, I've been hired to commentate for my racing league race. Love a good Caleb. He's a great Caleb. He's the best Caleb. He's the only Caleb I know out there who uses a K. And I like that because my name also begins with a K. Paintman coming into the Ford chicane, setting up his exit into Recommandant. The left on the straightaway. He could be quicker than he was before. Crosses with a 3:18.2. He went fastest right at the finish line. El Chivo 3:18.8. Fuego with a 3:19.2. Who else is coming through? Misfit improves but stays in 5th. Oh, who's next? Austin. He sets a 3:25. I believe Moy was next. Moy with a 3:24. He improves up to 9th. Leadfoot with a new 3:21.4. Captain Pedro is finishing his lap. Oh, he's 1/10 slower. Qualifying is done. And this is your order. Paintman with a 3:18.2. Chivo with a 3:18.8. Fuego with a 3:19.2. Augie 3:20.4. Followed by Misfit, who was in 5th. Improved her lap by over a second, but stayed in 5th as the other drivers improved at a 3:21.1. Leadfoot 3:21.4. Austin 3:22.6. Pedro 3:22.4. 3:24.3. My apologies. Moy with a 3:24.7. Mick a 3:25.3. And Caleb an unfortunate 3:29.1. All of our drivers, every single one except Fuego, running the Honda NSX Concept GT. Fuego will want to make sure he stays in the slipstream so he can get as much top speed as possible on the straights that the NSX is dominating, and use the DRS that his car so fortunately has to try and gain even more speed to make sure he stays as competitive as he can during the race. Paintman out-qualifying El Chivo by half a second and almost a full second to his rival Fuego. Fuego needing to have a very unfortunate day. He would need to finish 9th in order for Paintman to clutch the championship and take his claim. But, as said from before, make sure you keep an eye on the midfield battle between Moy and Augie. Only 4 points separate them for a top 5 season finish. Even they have a chance at getting their step on a podium. A lot of things can go down. It's 50 minutes at one of the most iconic tracks in motorsports racing. Lemans. It's 7 o'clock. The race is due to begin at any moment. Our drivers are making sure they have their tires set, their minds right, their tires warm, and their lines clean as the countdown to race start begins soon. Fuego, being the man to beat, he has won the last 4 races, all the way from Spa to Watkins Glen to St. Croix to Sardinia. Him qualifying third and in a different car will make this race very interesting. Paintman, our pole sitter, he'll get an extra point for sitting on pole, I believe. I'm not 100% sure because I've never been there myself. Yeah, you do get a point. Okay. You get a point for pole position, which he will gain, which will make not too much of a difference in his chances at getting the top spot, but it helps. Every point matters, especially when it's the final race. Paintman having a good season, but unfortunately having to miss St. Croix 2 weeks prior due to being somewhere else. That took a toll and has made the gap ever so larger between him and Fuego, but he'll do everything he can to make sure that he takes the victory and pray that everything can happen to his championship rival Fuego, so everything can work out in his favor. El Chivo, who sits with 101 points, going second quickest, will be able to take potentially a lot of points out of the people above him and see how far he can improve in the championship standings. A lot of points are up for grabs. A lot of places are able to be lost. But the time has come, and your finale begins now. Our drivers are lined up. Oh. Our countdown to race begins. It's all come down to this. The final week. The final chapter of the Wednesday GR3 series. We are underway. Paintman off to a good exit. He's followed by Chivo. We'll go on board with Augie, who sits behind the 3 race leaders. They approach the Dunlop curves. Everyone makes their way through cleanly. Paintman running a little wide. Chivo gaining. Chivo takes over first place. Paintman following quickly behind, and Fuego following suit. They approach the S's. Now they make their way towards Tetra Rouge. Let's check in with the rest of the standings. Augie is in 4th, Leadfoot in 5th, Austin in 6th. Misfit has lost out on 2 places. She sits in 7th. Pedro in 8th, Moy in 9th, Mick 10th, Caleb 11th. All the drivers now making their way down the Mulsanne Straight, some of them picking up penalties. El Chivo leads. He has a good gap between him and Paint Man, who's followed quickly behind by Fuego, who's using the DRS and the slipstream to get up to 196 miles an hour. He's absolutely rapid in the slipstream of Paint Man. Augie with a half-second penalty. He leads Leadfoot barely, who's riding quickly behind him. Austin, he has a 2-second penalty. He has a little bit of a gap between him and Misfit. Misfit leading the charge with Pedro behind. Pedro getting the slipstream. Moy, leading in 9th place, leads Mick and Caleb both quickly behind one another. El Chivo, all three of them going 3 wide down the Los Straight. Oh my goodness, we have a racing, ladies and gentlemen. 3 wide, Paint Man, Chivo, Fuego, the kink, the corner. Paint Man running wide. Chivo, Fuego taking it. Paint Man retains third place, but he's followed by Leadfoot. Some people are off. There's dust in the air. Everyone makes it through. Paint Man losing out to 1 place. Fuego gaining on both of them, but Chivo in the slipstream. He's going to want to fight back as they make their way towards Indianapolis. Paint Man having to fend off Leadfoot and Austin, who are quickly behind. Fuego, Chivo, side by side into Indianapolis. It's Fuego, it's Chivo. Chivo leads coming out of Arnage. Fuego getting a little loose. That'll open the door for Paint Man to get the slipstream as quick as possible. Drivers having to take their penalties. Austin slows down. Augie slows down. The order is getting jumbled yet again. Fuego following Chivo. Paint Man still having to fight off Leadfoot. They're approaching the Porsche curves. Let's check in with our race leaders as they make their way through the Porsche curves. Left, right. Chivo still leading, building a little bit of a gap to Fuego, who's fallen behind. Chivo now has a 1-second gap, and Fuego losing out drastically to Paint Man. It seems the NSXs are faster through the Porsche curves. El Chivo now with the 1.6 second gap. He's going through the S's. He'll begin his second lap. Still 46 minutes left of racing. The order: Chivo, Fuego, Paint Man, Leadfoot. The next group up: Austin, Pedro, Augie, Misfit, Mick, Moy, and Caleb. Caleb and Moy dive into the pits. They must have picked up some damage and they want to take care of that right away. El Chivo on the racing softs. He was going to have to pit significantly earlier than everyone else. Fuego, Paint Man, doing significantly better on tires, but they will have to pit before their tires run out, as they will run out of gas. Is El Chivo just trying to run away and build as big of a gap as he can? He leads by 2.2 seconds, and Fuego following behind, but Paint Man in the slipstream. Paint Man is dropping Leadfoot by a little bit, but Austin is following with a 1.5 second penalty. The racers are racing their race. Pedro being followed by Augie. Augie just using Captain Pedro to get as much speed as he can, pushing him with the slipstream. He wants to catch Austin as much as Pedro does too. Misfit with a half-second penalty. Mick with a second penalty. Caleb with a 2-second penalty. And Moy with no penalty. Moy will be able to gain places from Caleb, but he'll have a long way to go before he can catch the rest of the group. The rest of the group, speaking of, have made their way out of the Mulsanne corner and are now taking the long straight towards Indianapolis. It's still Chivo followed by Fuego. Fuego gaining little by little on El Chivo, but El Chivo on the racing softs. His back left tire is already dead, and it's only lap 2. Austin about to take his slowdown penalty. He leads Pedro by 2 seconds. Augie and Pedro going side by side through Arnage. Augie has gained a place on Pedro, but Pedro is hopping immediately in the slipstream. Austin being slow on the right-hand side. They'll both pass and gain their own place. Austin still very close behind. Let's check in with El Chivo as he makes his way out of the course curves and into karting. Let's see if he pits now, or he holds on for another lap. He now leads by 2 seconds. Ford chicane. Run commandant. The start finish straight. He clocks a 3:19.8. And Fuego followed by Paintman. Paintman using absolutely all of the slipstream. He's built up a little bit of a gap to Leadfoot. Who leads Augie? Who leads Pedro? Augie managing to get a nice little gap from Pedro. Misfit has her eyes set on Pedro. And she's putting in good times. Our leaders make their way out of the Mulsanne corner, or the Tetra Rouge, and begin the Mulsanne straight. Caleb and Moy, they're close to one another. They're about to begin their third lap. They're both on the freshest set of tires out of the entire grid. All of our drivers making their way down the Mulsanne straight, but Enfuego has picked up a half-second penalty. He leads Paintman by 1.2, who even closer is Leadfoot than Paintman is to Fuego. We could see a very nice battle for second place coming up very soon. Pedro has picked up a half-second penalty that'll allow Misfit to get ever so closer. Augie coming into the Mulsanne corner. Augie also on the softs. He's definitely going to have to pit this lap. Fuego using all of that DRS to try and gain on El Chivo, which he is doing, but the NSX is very good in the corners, especially good in the corners of Indianapolis and Arnage. And Fuego having to serve his penalty as soon as he comes out of Arnage. We're going to hop on board with Paintman. And Fuego takes his slowdown penalty. Paintman gaining and gaining, 10th by 10th. The gap is now down 0.8, quickly dropping to 0.7. The right-hander is very quick. The left-hander, even quicker. Fuego, the gap is down to 0.6 seconds, but Fuego has picked up an entire second penalty. That is massive for Paintman. Paintman using as much curb as possible to keep as much speed as he can. He chases Fuego, who now leads with the second. El Chivo, Augie diving into the pits to get rid of their soft tires. Are they going to try and blast and go on hards? Or do they also want to dash and go on mediums? Let's check in with the rest of the grid. Misfit up to 4th place. She's doing well. She still wants to gain on Leadfoot, who is now taking the bottom step of the podium, 3rd place. Pedro, Mick following. El Chivo has made his way out of the pits. He comes out in 7th. Augie in 8th. Austin, who has a fresher set of medium tires than most of the grid, but definitely not all of the grid, is behind by 3.8. Moy and Caleb still putting in laps together. Fuego leading. Paintman quickly behind. Paintman able to hop in the slipstream of Fuego, who suffers without the slipstream of El Chivo down the straights, but he has the advantage of DRS. Paintman going 0.05 of a second quicker than his fastest lap. He's setting his sights on the race leader as they approach the Mulsanne corner. Hard on the brakes, sending it to the right, focusing on a good exit. He's barely losing out to Fuego. Alright, let's hop back on board with Paintman as we see what's going to happen with Fuego taking his slowdown penalty. Paintman wants a good exit, doesn't want to get too greedy, as to not lose out on time. Fuego takes the slowdown. Paintman passes on the left. We hop on with Fuego, who's immediately back at the slipstream of Paintman. Through the forest curves as the sun starts to poke its head out. Pedro taking his slowdown. Mick, he's got an opportunity to pass. They take the kink. It's Mick. It's Pedro entering the Porsche curves. Pedro on the inside. He has a compromised line to Mick, who has the better line and gets a nice gap going on Captain Pedro. Pedro just picking the wrong area to try and make a move happen. Pedro needs to focus on recovery through the S's to make sure he can get his shot back at Mick. El Chivo in 7th and Augie's still in 8th. Austin quickly coming behind in 9th. Moy and Caleb a little more separate but still running their own fight. Caleb's on used mediums. Moy's on a little bit fresher mediums. We hop back with our race leaders as Paintman makes his way out of Petrol Rouge, quickly followed by Fuego. Fuego running a little wide, that could gain him another penalty. It does, another second. This has not been good for Fuego, as this has been his Achilles heel. Fuego about to make a move on Paintman. He rides in the slipstream and bumps him. Just trying to cover as much distance to 3rd place. Knows he'll have to take the penalty, so he wants to get as far away from Leadfoot as he can, so that way he doesn't have the opportunity to gain and make his chances at passing Fuego even easier, which Paintman will not want to happen. Majority of our drivers making their way down the Mulsanne straight. Pedro's picked up another penalty, which will be great news for Chivo, who's gone on hards. He's going to want to run longer than everybody else is. You'll see how long he can make those hards last. All of our drivers who have not pitted are sitting below a quarter tank of fuel. Fuego has had a moment. He sent it into the wall. Leadfoot passes him. This is great news for Paintman. Horrible for Fuego. Fuego has managed to avoid getting damage, which is crucial for his race. Fuego now wanting to gain on Leadfoot, but having the second penalty to serve, this could allow Leadfoot to get out of the slipstream or allow Leadfoot to not let Fuego have a slipstream on him, which is going to be great news for Paint Man. But Fuego needs to finish in 9th place in order for Paint Man to not take the championship. Fuego takes his slowdown penalty. We check in with Pedro, who's followed by Chivo. Chivo with more fuel and more gas, and Pedro with the slowdown penalty. Chivo will have a nice opportunity to get by and take 6th place away. Pedro making it difficult for him. He takes a slowdown coming out of Arnage. Augie wanting to make as much use out of that slowdown penalty as he can. He's behind 4.3. Our race leader, Paint Man, dives into the pits, followed by Leadfoot. Fuego is following suit. Misfit, who's out of gas, will surely be following suit. She does. She goes into the pits. Nick, who has yet to pit, he'll go into the pit lane so he can get a refuel. Chivo, not needing fuel or tires, will carry on the race. Our race leader has yet to take his fuel, so this could be great news for Chivo as he makes his way out of Recommandant and begins his next lap. Paint Man filling up. He'll be making his way out of pit soon. It could be close. It might be close. Paint Man making his way out. El Chivo past the left. El Chivo takes the race lead. Paint Man behind by 1.4 seconds. 1.6 seconds. He's on colder tires. He's going to want to maintain as much closure to El Chivo as he can. Stay in that slipstream. Warm those tires up. Augie is in 3rd place, followed by Leadfoot, who has come out of the pits on medium tires and a full tank of gas. We check in with the rest of our grid. Leadfoot going around Tetra Rouge. Fuego with a 2-second penalty. This is not good for Fuego as he keeps racking up penalties. He needs to buckle down and focus if he wants to make sure he stays above 9th place. He just needs a little shot of confidence, but it's en Fuego. He's led the championship. He's won 4 straight in a row. He's more than capable of winning. And he'll want all the glory on this glorious track. Austin following with a 0.5-second penalty. Not as much damage. He'll still slow down, but he might be able to make a pass on Fuego as he barely gains on him in the slipstream. Austin, very close behind. Misfit, 14 seconds back. Nick, 11 seconds from Misfit. Pedro, Moy, and Caleb will definitely need to pit sooner rather than later to get rid of those used mediums. Chivo leads, Paint Man follows by 2.1. Paint Man might not be able to be within the benefit of the slipstream, but he's making sure El Chivo stays clean and consistent as he applies the pressure. Augie, who's very closely followed by Leadfoot. Fuego, followed by Austin. Both of them having to slow down soon. We'll ride on board with Austin. See if he's able to get past Fuego, who has the longer slowdown. Has a little moment. Fuego takes a slowdown. So does Austin. Austin's back on the gas. Fuego on the gas as well. Austin is faster. Austin not opting for the slipstream. He wants to make a move on one of the corners. Austin may be opting to follow and Fuego through the Porsche curves. Fuego getting a good launch, but running a little wide. Austin having a nice clean line, kissing the wall ever so slightly. Austin following Fuego. Austin gaining. Fuego on the brakes. Austin following. Fuego's gaining ever so slightly. Austin, not able to get it done with the slowdown penalty, has a little moment which costs him the ability to capitalize on Fuego's 2-second slowdown penalty. Great news for Fuego, who's going to want to continue the chase to maintain his place. El Chivo being followed by Paintman, who's managed to close the gap down to 0.6 of a second. Augie, who could be gaining on both of them due to the battle. Paintman and Chivo are side by side. Paintman has taken the lead. Chivo's immediately in the slipstream. We go on board with Chivo, 180 miles per hour, kissing Paintman. Let's see if there's a little bit of smoochy smooch going on. Paintman, our leader, in the beautiful Pepsi livery, born in the Carolinas. Chivo, el pollo loco. Quiero que sepas poco de español, mi amigo. Gorgeous yellow and red livery. Augie, the deep blue, the white, very attractive NSX. Leadfoot, ripping the black and yellow. Fuego, in his iconic black car with flames. Austin, in the Jägermeister. Beautiful forest green, beautiful drink. He takes them all same corner. Misfit, in a personal favorite, Star Wars livery. She needs to feel the Force, use her feelings, and she will do what must be done. Mick, gorgeous, white and baby blue, with accents of red. Pedro, in the color shift blue-green. Moy, in the Monster Energy, gorgeous car. And Caleb, repping Red Bull. Paintman is still leading El Chivo. We are approaching the halfway point as the sun starts to rise. Drivers putting in their laps on the mediums. Some of them have fuel, some of them have tires, some of them have both. Chivo with significantly less gas than Paintman, but longer lasting tires. He'll have to pit for fuel before Paintman does, which will allow Paintman to build as big of a gap as he can, but Paintman will have to pit later in the race. Augie on mediums. He has a quarter tank left of gas, which will allow Leadfoot to gain even more places on his fresher mediums and heavier weight because of his more fuel. Fuego, he's doing well on tires and fuel. He won't need to pit for a while. Speaking of pit, the Jägermeister car of Austin hops into the pits so he can get a refresher on fuel and tires. Misfit is making her way around Recommandant. She will take 6 points for her own, and she has the ability to push on for a little bit as she has fresh tires and a lot of gas. Mick makes his way around. He'll want to claim 7th place for his own. Pedro, who knows, maybe he can take 8th. Caleb is taking his slowdown penalty. Paintman has built the gap to El Chivo. Paintman sits 2.6 seconds behind, followed by Augie, who has an unfortunate half-second penalty, quickly followed by Leadfoot. Misfit begins her journey down the Mulsanne Straight. She picks up a half-second penalty. And Fuego with a second penalty. Augie with a half-second penalty. A lot of our racers getting penalties this race. This track is unforgiving and will take every ounce from you. Leadfoot very, very slowly gaining on Augie. Our racers approach the Mulsanne corner. Paintman takes it, focuses on his exit, gets a good exit, followed by El Chivo. He might have to stretch out another lap for fuel, or he'll have to dive into the pits now, which will allow Augie, who's about to serve his slowdown penalty, time to catch up. Leadfoot, in Augie's shadow, has the opportunity to overtake coming out of Varnage as they take the last bit of straightaway coming into Indianapolis. We're going to hop on board with Leadfoot as they make their way through Indianapolis. He follows behind Augie. He's down by 8 tenths. Up to 7 tenths. He's closing the gap ever so slightly. He wants a good exit. Augie takes it. Leadfoot takes it. Augie moves to the right. Leadfoot wanting every bit of that stream. He's down by 6 tenths. Leadfoot passes on the left. Augie immediately hopping in the slipstream, coming into the kink as they approach the Porsche curves. Leadfoot on the brakes a little earlier than Augie, it seems. Augie wants his spot on the podium back. Augie using as much track as he can. Drops the gear to maintain traction. Comes in, Leadfoot runs a little bit wide. Augie's on the charge. Augie's pushing. Augie takes third place. Leadfoot losing out as he runs a little wide, but Augie diving into the pits. Maybe just wanted to flex his muscles on Leadfoot a little there. Let him know who could be really in charge. Leadfoot takes second place. Leadfoot obviously doing a good job in this race. He has tires and fuel. He's going to push on. Paintman leads with half his tires and half his fuel. He has a 7.5 second gap to Leadfoot, who has a 5 second gap to Fuego. Augie making his way into the pits. He'll get a new set of tires and some more fuel. El Chivo doing the same, but keeping his tires on. He'll take over fourth place as Augie refuels. Mick is coming into Run Commandant. He's about to start his lap, but Augie has already made his way out. Ooh, this race is interesting. Mick, followed by Austin. Could there be a battle going on there? Ooh, we'll hop on board with Austin as they make their way through the S's and approach Tetra Rouge. Austin with a little bit better exit out of the S's. Mick with a little tap on the brakes. Austin keeps it. Austin runs into the back of Mick. He's pushing Mick. He gave Mick a boost. Mick keeps 6th, 7th place. Austin using the extra speed of Mick to get his own extra speed and ride in the slipstream. Is Austin going to make a move, or is he going to bump with Mick? He opts to bump with Mick as he wants to try and catch Augie as quickly as he can. Augie with the freshest set of tires. Austin running on softs. Mick and Austin. He's sniffing the exhaust fumes coming out of that car. Let's show you how tight the gap really is. There it is. There's the gap. Oh, we're back on this side. Let's hop on with Austin as they make their way out of the Mulsanne straight and into the Mulsanne corner. Austin lets off as to not run too deep into the corner. Sees what Mick's doing. Mick, ooh, Austin with a little moment, but he's still gaining on Mick. Mick now evening things out. He maintains his gap of half a second. Pedro wanting their battle to slow down so he can catch up and get out of 9th place. Augie making his way out of Arnage. Shanna and El Chivo both with a slowdown penalty coming out of Arnage, which is great news for Augie. He's at 6.2, 5.5. He's rapidly gaining on Misfit and El Chivo. Do we have a battle going on? Shanna and Chivo through the S's. Shanna building a little bit of a gap. She's rapid through the S's. Builds a 7/10 second of a gap. Out of karting. Into the Ford chicane. Recommandant. She's a little slow. Chivo doesn't have the speed to capitalize. Augie sniffing their behinds. It's a three-way battle for fourth. They go into the Dunlop curves. Misfit. Oh, spins a little. Misfit giving them a run for her money. She recovers nicely. She'll want to maintain 7th place. Paintman leading Leadfoot. Leading Fuego. Misfit has made her way back on the track. She's in 7th. She has Mick set in her sights. Augie is following Chivo and gaining. Let's hop on with Austin, who's witnessing the battle between Mick and Misfit. It's all going down. Austin's bumping. Pedro losing out to all of the group. Ooh, we're gonna go with check back in. Augie leading El Chivo. Or El Chivo leading Augie. They're approaching the Mulsanne corner. Our group behind is just pushing. They make their way through the kink. Mick leads Misfit. Who leads Austin? Austin getting the both of everyone's DRS. He backs off a little bit. Oh, they're too wide through the corner. Misfit takes it. Misfit takes it from Mick. She wants her spot back. Blessing the drivers behind them with the force. We hop on with Austin. Into Indianapolis. Ducking and weaving. Our race leader hops into the pit. Our 2nd place follows. Fuego is also into the pits. Augie has the best set of tires and gas. He's coming out of the Porsche curves. He's managed to build a big gap to El Chivo. Augie exiting karting well. Our race leader is in and receiving fuel. Augie is at the first set of the chicanes. Will he come out to give Paintman a run for his money, or will Paintman come out ahead of the pack? Paintman comes out and maintains first position. Augie has crossed the line in 2nd. Leadfoot has not made his way out. Leadfoot and Fuego making their way out. Chivo dives into the pits. Leadfoot and Fuego are side by side coming into the Dunlop S's. El Chivo, Mick, Shanna, and Austin all go into the pits. Leadfoot still following Fuego. Fuego doesn't have the slipstream, but he has the DRS. Leadfoot has the faster car, but does he have the pace to pass? It's Paintman leading Augie, leading Fuego. Leadfoot, Chivo, Misfit, getting her fuel. Austin, getting his fuel. Nick, he's done doing what he needs to do. He comes out in 6th place. Misfit in 7th place. Moy crosses in 8th. He passes Austin, who makes his way out of the pits. Pedro repairing his damage. He'll make his way out. Caleb approaching the final laps of the chicane. And with 14 minutes left, the day has gone on, but the sky has gotten darker. Do we have weather on our hands? I can't check. Need I remind you, this studio cannot afford a weather radar system. Fuego still leading Leadfoot, but Leadfoot ever so slightly losing out. Chivo. My PlayStation's getting too hot. Uh-oh. El Chivo running his own race in 5th place. Mick running in 6th. Misfit followed by Moy. Moy getting the benefit of the slipstream. Austin running in 9th. Pedro in 10th. Caleb starting his way down the Mulsanne Straight. Augie going through Indianapolis, coming to Arnage. The gap is 5.3. He's followed by Fuego, who's closing at a 3.9. Leadfoot has lost his lead a little bit. Something has happened with Leadfoot. Leadfoot has had a little moment. He loses out a little bit more. He's at 2.9, now 3 seconds to Fuego. We check back in with our closest battle as Moy and Misfit make their way out of the Mulsanne corner. Moy and Misfit coming into Indianapolis. Augie dives into the pits. Fuego takes over 2nd place. Augie with half tires and half fuel. You wonder why he hops in. Does he believe a weather change is in order? Are raindrops falling on his head? We'll see what tires Augie comes out on. He comes out on a fresh set of mediums. With about 11 minutes left to go in the race, Hangman is looking on pace to finish the job with his new mediums. He could have to do about 3 laps. Fuego, who's in 2nd place, he might need to pit before the end of the race, unless he can make it last. Leadfoot, who sits at the bottom of the podium, but on the podium nonetheless, is running his own race in 3rd. Augie, still leading Chivo. Their gap is 3.6. Mick, Austin, and Misfit have managed to find a little separation between everyone. Pedro is trying to catch Misfit. Moy and Caleb dive into the pits for what will be the final stint or pit stop of their session. Seems like the sky is cleared up. Weather should not be an issue for the race, which is good news for our drivers. The gaps are pretty well spaced. I believe 3.8. I believe this is our closest fight at 3.9 seconds. No. It's Austin being followed by Misfit, which is a 2.4 second gap. Misfit shouldn't leave the pit at all for the rest of the race. I don't believe any of our drivers will have to pit for the rest of the race. They all just want to run their own race, stay as clean as they can, stay as fast as they can. Paintman approaching Tete Rouge. And Fuego doing the same thing himself. El Chivo begins his 13th lap. Augie chasing El Chivo. Pedro chasing Misfit. Moy coming into the Porsche curves, he runs in 10th. Caleb in between Indianapolis and Arnage, he's in 11th. Let's check in with our closest race. We're with Captain Pedro. Trying to get it done against Misfit, but Misfit improving her speed. Gap is now 2 seconds. Misfit having a better exit, gaining on Pedro. The gap tops out at about 1.7. Fuego in the rearview mirror of Paintman, letting him know that he's right behind him. Paintman leads by 6 seconds. Paintman having a tiny little moment. He kisses the gravel, but maintains a good line. He's built a gap, quickly losing the gap that he has built though due to a little mistake. But the gap is 6.1. Drivers will have to do 2 laps, 2 more laps with just under 5 minutes left to go. And Paintman has had, or Fuego has had a little moment. He gets into the wall, but with 4 minutes And our race leader already at 47 seconds. The drivers will have to do at least 2 more laps. Does Fuego have the fuel to do 2 more laps, or will he have to fuel save? Leadfoot wants a higher step on the podium than one he's already got. Oh, Pedro has gotten by Misfit. And built a gap. The cars are well spaced out. And Fuego proved himself in the Audi. It showed that no matter the car, you can have the pace. But Paintman still, our pole sitter, has the gap to best him. But with at least another lap on the way, we have no idea what's in store. The drivers are going to need everything that they can. Austin potentially setting up a charge to try and take out Nick. He'll have at least another lap to do it. Let's check in with Paintman, who crosses the finish line with a 3:22. And if my time is correct, this should be the final lap of the race with only 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the clock. Paintman is leading by 12.9, now 13 seconds. And Fuego very dangerously low on fuel. He has no choice but to go. Will he be able to maintain enough fuel for this lap? Leadfoot with enough tires and gas will be on the charge. Who knows? Chivo, even with the 2-second penalty, could capitalize if Fuego runs out of fuel. Augie begins his penultimate tour of the lap of the track, of the race. Goodness me. Our leader, Paintman, down the Mulsanne straight. And Fuego doing the same. He's as light as a feather. Leadfoot beginning his long journey. He's gaining ever so slightly, 10th by 10th. Chivo picking up a 2-second penalty. Augie with a 1-second penalty. Nick Austin duking it out through the Dunlop S's. There's my timer, and I was correct. This is the final lap of the race. Austin and Mick, our closest gap. Our race leader made it out of the Mulsanne corner and is making his way to Indianapolis. The gap is 4 tenths. Austin, is he going for the move? He's around the outside. Oh, we need to check in. Ooh, this is tight. Oh, get to the corner. Get to the corner. Oh, the battle continues. We need to see our race leader, Paintman, who sat on pole and led on pole. And led. He's coming to end the race in first place. Paintman takes home Le Mans and Fuego in karting. He's managed to hold on to fuel. He approaches the Fort chicane. He's just taking it nice and easy. Leadfoot, who's on the charge, up 14 seconds, got it down to 3, will not be able to make it happen. Fuego crosses the line in second. He is your ASR Wednesday Series champion. Leadfoot comes in third. Chivo he makes his way down the straight. He's in fourth. Augie through the chicanes. Austin has gotten past Mick. We missed it, but Austin has gotten past Mick to take 6th place. Let's hop on board with Mick, see if he can keep it alive and get his place back. They make their way out of the S's. They're through karting. His last chance is the Ford chicane. All he has to do is pray Austin makes a mistake. Oh, come on. Mick with a bad exit. Austin comes home to take it in 6th. That was your Wednesday Series championship race at Le Mans. 50 minutes. And the victor is Paintman. But our man in 2nd place, who takes home 35 points, only loses out on 6 points to Paintman, and Fuego is our championship winner. I don't know what the math is because I can't do it right now. What, 213 plus 40, 253 points. Oh wait, no, 231. 231, 235, 266 points. And Fuego wins the championship. Paintman gaining 41 points. Comes home with 244 points. He's in 2nd place. Leadfoot, who finishes 3rd, takes home 33 points to put him up to 237. Austin, who comes in 6th place, only gains 27 points. He's going to take 4th place in the championship. Oh, I can't do the rest of the math for these numbers, but that has been your race for Wednesday night ASR GR2 Series. I'm 410's finest, aka 623's finest. It's been an honor commentating for you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. Here are the finishing standings. Paintman in 1st, Fuego in 2nd, Leadfoot in 3rd. Chivo finishes 4th. He finishes ahead of Augie in 5th. Austin, passing Mick on the final lap of the race, comes in 6th. Mick takes 7th. Pedro finishes in 8th, followed by Misfit, who finishes in 9th. Moy takes 10th place, and Caleb takes 11th. And that is all I have for you fine folk. Have a wonderful rest of your night, and goodbye.